Kelsea Ballerini.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Smooth Country.
Yay, thank you. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks.
I saw a set of yours the other night.
Yes.
And I was totally blown away.
Thank you.
Little acoustic set. You had a couple of guys behind you, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, my two guitar players and me. It's fun for us to do that. Like, that's how I write my songs, is on a guitar, you know? So it's like nice to be able to kind of strip it back every now and again and just get back to the actual songs.
I was going to ask you because from a fan's point of view, when you hear the big production and the finished article, it was so refreshing hearing, like you say, the stripped back version. It was almost. Have you ever thought of maybe doing an album or doing a little release just back to the original, if you like?
I do these covers on Instagram a lot. Like, I'll take a pop song and I'll cover it really acoustic. And so every time I do that, people are like, you should do an album like this. I'd like to one day. Like, I love production, like visually and like sonically. So I think that that'll always be like a part of what I do. But I think it'd be cool to like maybe do an acoustic EP one day, like 5 songs or something.
Well, for me, just watching it, and for the rest of the people in the room as well, and I think it was more the natural way you were able to get us into and out of the songs and the stories, and you're just obviously a natural communicator, and it just worked really well, the whole thing.
Thanks.
Rather than just, do you know what I mean? Rather than just hearing each finished song.
Right. Start, stop.
Yeah, it was just a natural way through your catalogue.
Thank you.
Now, you played a couple of, obviously, your big songs, and then you played a new song.
Homecoming Queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just been released.
Last week. It's like a week old. It's a baby.
A baby.
It's a baby.
And,
yeah.
And how, I mean, because I've had a little look online and there's a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of people clicking on it, more importantly, too.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's always intimidating to put out the first song from a new project because you want to make sure that it's something that's different than what you've done but still familiar, where people will be like, oh, all right, she hasn't like changed or jumped ship or something, And my last 2 songs that I was a part of was the Chainsmokers collaboration and then Miss Me More, my last single, and they were both, pretty pop heavy songs. And so I really just wanted to put out something that kind of brought it back to songwriting and brought it back to the roots of who I am and what I do. So it's kind of like a clean slate, this song is.
You mentioned new projects, so I'm assuming new album on the way?
Yes, 100%. When I'm not in London, I'm at home working on the record. It's so much fun. This is the most involved I've been, too. I've never been like in the studio as much. Usually the last 2 records I kind of popped in, did vocals and left and let the producers do their thing. And this time I'm super involved in it, which has been a challenge, and I've learned a lot, which is fun.
I suppose you mentioned a moment ago your babies, and I love that term.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a really difficult question, so you don't have to answer it if you don't like.
Okay.
But of your babies, is there one in particular baby, or is it always the newest baby?
It's not. I write one song as a solo write on every record. It's kind of just my tradition that I've made for myself because it's really important for me for people to know that I really am a songwriter, and I love collaborating with other songwriters, but I also love writing by myself. And so I would say like my baby on each record is probably the one that I write by myself because it's all me,
Yes.
Yeah.
So totally 100% down to you.
Yeah, it's just me.
Does that give you even a warmer feeling if the fans, latch onto that one even more so because it's yours?
Yeah. There was a song on the last record called High School, and that was the one that I wrote by myself. And that was the one that, especially the younger fans that were in high school, kind of really grabbed onto. And it just made me feel so proud that it was something that I had gone through and I had thought about and kind of grappled with. Grappled? Grappled.
Grappled will do.
Grappled.
Yeah.
Grappled's a new word that I just made up today for you. You're welcome for that.
Thank you.
So I think there's a different kind of connection when it's something that's just 100% me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you
Grappled?
That's what we can do a little editing if
I don't care.
if we want to anyway. Do you, because you started out young in this industry, and it seems to have happened relatively full on. Do you sometimes pinch yourself and go, "Oh my God, here I am already," or not?
It's interesting. It depends on the day. Sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just put out my first single, And then some days I'm like, I feel like I've aged 20 years in 5. It really depends on the day. But I think I'm trying to be really intentional about making myself be present because I'm wired to just always be looking for what's next. And, I'm such a goal-oriented person. I'm always like, what's next? Well, how can I get better? How do I get there?
Yes.
And I really want to get better at being like, hey, this moment right now, your 13-year-old self would like die over. So just be present and be excited about now. So I'm working on that.
Because that's a real, it's a very current theme, you know, for all of us, strip back the noise.
Yeah.
You know, just appreciate the moments.
Right.
I know this is kind of cliche stuff, but it's really important too.
So, especially in today's world, like I find myself all the time, like I'll be at a table with people that I love just on my phone and stuff. And I'm like, what's wrong with me?
I was going to say our distractions, right?
Absolutely. I know.
And just, you know, make the most of the moment.
But that's become like the norm. To like if you have a moment of silence, you're just like, let me grab my phone, you know, and you're like,
that awkward. I've even seen in restaurants, you might see somebody on the next table and they're on a date. They might even be on a fairly, you know, a newish date together.
Yeah.
And they're both on their phones and you think, you almost feel like taking it off and wake up.
My husband crazy.
Yeah,
I do that to him
me
all the
too.
time. And he's like, put your phone down. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. It's like it's his thing with me.
Yeah, well, I think, look, I don't even know the guy. I think he's right to keep
yeah,
on to
absolutely.
So, you know, we were talking about you starting out quite young. If there was another Kelsea listening to this right now, a 12, 14, 16-year-old right now, and she was trying to, or he, you know, trying to break into the industry, what would you say to them? I mean, to get to where you are now, what's the best advice?
Well, the cool part about the music industry and the frustrating part about the music industry, one of them, is that there's just not a rule book. There's just no set way to make it happen. That's why there's shows that people go on, and some people break young, some people break older. It just doesn't, you know, and sometimes it takes a certain song and you've had 3 records. It just depends.
Yeah.
And I think that's really frustrating because you don't know where to start. But when it does work, it's so custom. It's so unique to you and your path. I would say if you love writing, write as much as you can. I think songwriting for me is the reason that I have the opportunity to be an artist. If I wasn't a songwriter, I don't think I'd have this career. So I would say if you have something to say, I would write until you feel like you've said it.
And again, that leads on to, I mean, how do you break through the noise of everything else and everyone else? How did you get past that thing of being noticed?
I was so naive. I mean, I didn't know. I was so young, you know, and lucky for me, like I had Taylor to look up to. I had Carrie to look up to, and Shania. Like there were so many women in country music at that point that I just thought, well, of course I can do this, you know? And I didn't know at the time, really, there was like there was a gap of women that weren't on country radio. But I was naive to it. I didn't think that was going to be, you know, a conversation. And so when we ended up putting the first single out and it started charting and doing well, that's when people were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have a single that's working at radio. And I was like, really? Why? Like all these other women have done it. And they're like, well, you know, it's just, we're in a season of that not working right now. And I was just naive. I think it's the greatest gift I had.
So a favorite song of yours? I mean, because obviously you're a songwriter, you're a creator, but is there a song that if it comes on the radio or in your collection, you go, I've got to turn this up? What would it be?
A song of mine?
Oh, no, just generally.
Oh.
I know that's really difficult when people ask you that question, isn't it?
Well, I listen to everything. Like I obviously listen to country music, but I listen to pop and rap and everything. Because as a songwriter, I like to get influenced by all that. So, gosh, country, anything Rascal Flatts, like for some reason they just feel, even though they're still so relevant, they feel really nostalgic to me. Like it brings me back to my childhood. I toured with them as well. So I just, anything Rascal Flatts, like Miss Mayberry, sitting on the porch drinking ice cold cherry Coke, like that just makes me feel good. I just love that. So that I always turn up. Anything Shania ever, just ever. I turn up. She's before I go on stage, we always play Shania.
That's
so like
interesting. So she's your getting into the moment.
She like gets me in the right mindset, you know? Because she's just like, not only was she so bold with her music and she wrote it all, like she was just bold in the way she dressed and the way she, you know, performed and did music videos and all of that. She was just like a trailblazer.
She's her own person, wasn't she? She
just
did it her own way.
That's right.
So you're traveling all around the place. You're in London right now.
Yeah.
I know you're going to Australia really soon.
Yeah.
Then back to California.
Yeah.
So does it ever stop? Do you ever, I mean, obviously for the songwriting, you must just go home, do you, and just put the shutters on or not?
I have to have intentional cutoffs for songwriting because if I keep writing, I will just redo the record 85 million times and I'll just never have a done album. So my cutoff was like 2 weeks ago. So I'm done writing. I have to be done. And I have like 200 songs. And now I have to sort through it all and be like, okay, what's good enough? But yeah, so right now I'm just in travel mode. I'm just in like promo mode, I guess. And I'm taking my songwriter hat off for a couple months while I finish the album. So I don't confuse myself, because I'm going to like write something and be like, the whole album's wrong. I have to redo everything.
Because you can almost, I would imagine, get almost too, I know it sounds silly, but too involved or too intense.
Absolutely.
And you almost need to pull back, don't you?
Yeah.
And look at it again a little later.
Hard cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. And I know you said you're, after this, you're just going to totally do a normal thing, like go into town and go shopping and just chill and relax.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I just turned 26 a couple days ago, and I think like just as a young woman to be able to travel to all these places is such a gift, and I want to be able to like work, which to me this is not work. It's just like it's so fun, you know. But I also want to be able to play and experience these amazing places that I never thought I'd get to go to.
Well, yeah, that's the bonus.
I want to do some tea time.
But apart from the jet lag, of course, as well, which we were talking about.
It's dark.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Yeah. I've gone to Australia so many times because my husband's from there. And I guess I just haven't been here as much. So it gets me hard here. Yeah. I was like.
Yeah, for this time zone.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fine. That's what concealer's for.
Well, one of us is wearing it. The other one isn't, but I guess I wasn't as jet lagged. Well, look, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
And don't leave it as long next time.
I know. I'll be back soon. I promise.
Promise?
Promise.
We've got that as a promise.
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to learn the jet lag thing and then I'll be back.